And so you do exactly what your body is telling you to do.
Come on, eat something. A steak, will ya?
You eat more. In other words, you're not getting fat because you're eating more. You're eating more because you're getting fat. Remember, Mother Nature isn't stupid. If your fat cells are slow to release their fuel, your body actually works to make them bigger. And they keep on getting bigger until they can release the energy that your body needs. That could mean gaining a little weight, or it could mean gaining a lot. It all depends on how slowly your fat cells release their fat. Most of us weren't born with greedy fat cells, but we can certainly make them that way. When you eat too many carbohydrates, you raise your blood sugar. Since high blood sugar is toxic, your body releases insulin to bring it down. But your body can only burn a little bit of sugar at a time. So what happens to the rest of it?
Your storage sites for carbohydrate are limited, and we've got unlimited storage places for fat, so the body ends up just converting the carbohydrate to fat.
And after bringing down your blood sugar, insulin does its other job. It tells your body to store fat.
Insulin stimulates an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase that sends fat into the fat cells. So if insulin is elevated, this lipoprotein lipase is really activated and it's sending fat like crazy into the fat cell. So if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, your insulin goes up, you're storing fat in the fat cell.
When you have a healthy metabolism, it only takes a little bit of insulin to bring your blood sugar down, and then everything goes back to normal. But over time, that can change.
Cells can become resistant to the effects of insulin. In essence, when that happens, the insulin's talking, but the cells just aren't listening. And so they don't get the message from insulin, so they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Hello? Stop hitting me. I'm not hitting you. Stop hitting me. I'm not hitting you.
And so your body does what it has to do. It starts producing more insulin.
You finally reach the point to where your insulin's high just to keep your sugar normal, even if you're not eating any sugar. And then when that happens, then it's starting to drive stuff into the fat cell, and then you've reached this point where all of a sudden, bam, you get fat.
And you get fat even though you're eating the same number of calories you always did, because now you have greedy fat cells. So you do what the experts have always told us to do. You go on a low-fat, low-calorie diet so you can burn your own body fat for fuel. Just one little problem. If too many carbohydrates are keeping your insulin high, the insulin is telling your body to store the fat instead of burning it. Now you're really starving inside.
You're all out of yourself, come on, you big pig. What do you think you're doing? What's the matter with you? I'm hungry down, you know.
So once again, your body does what it has to do. It slows down your metabolism. You stop losing weight. You get tired, and then you do things like drive around the parking lot looking for a close parking space.
So, you know, so many of my patients come in following that advice where they say, well, I know it can't be about my diet because I'm eating a good diet. And I say, well, what did you have for breakfast this morning? And they say, well, I ate a bowl of Special K, and I used low-fat milk, and then I had 2 pieces of whole wheat toast. And to break your fast in the morning with all of that insulin-producing high glycemic diet is going to shut down your metabolism and is the prescription for making you fat.
And then they end up being, in most cases, larger than they were when they started out, but with a lower metabolic rate.
And it frustrates so many people because they do it and they fail and then they think they failed. And they didn't fail. The diet failed.
The next time you feel like indulging in the usual prejudice against fat people, here's something to keep in mind. My wife has always been thin, and she's the first to admit it has nothing to do with discipline. When she and I sit down for a meal, we both do exactly the same thing. We eat until we're not hungry anymore. I got fat and stayed fat because I was living on foods that told my body to store the calories in my fat cells, which just made me hungrier. In some people, the fat cells and the other tissues become insulin resistant at about the same rate. The good news is they don't gain weight. The bad news is insulin resistance can kill you even if you're skinny.
Demanding of your pancreas that it produce ever greater amounts of insulin to keep your blood sugar normal is ultimately going to cause what's called beta cell burnout. Finally, the pancreas is producing all it can produce, and that's not enough anymore. And when that happens, the beta cells get damaged, they can't produce anymore, and your blood sugar goes up, and now you've become frankly diabetic.
And once your blood sugar goes out of control, it can damage your arteries and lead to heart disease. And yet the experts keep telling us to stay away from fat and load up on carbohydrates. On their website, CSPI encourages parents to cut the fat from their kids' diets and feed them starchy foods like whole wheat crackers and grape nuts.
Grape nuts have a glycemic index of 64. Sugar! Which make them more fattening. If you were to eat a bowl of grape nuts, the calories are about the same as eating an extra large Snickers bar. Sugar!
We were all subjects in a giant experiment, the hypothesis of which was that fat is bad for us. And now here we all are at the end of this giant experiment. Type 2 diabetes is at a screamingly high rate. Way more people are overweight than used to be.
Grandmother could tell you that that diet would make you fat. She knew that potatoes and bread were fattening. We all knew it until modern nutrition told us otherwise.
Which is why I'm intentionally ignoring what modern nutrition says. I'm eating lots of protein and plenty of fat, but I'm limiting my carbohydrates to about 100 grams per day. Because my doctor was going on vacation, I shortened my 30-day diet to 28 days and went to my post-diet checkup. I showed my doctor what I'd been eating, which included 15 double or triple cheeseburgers, 19 sausage patties, 52 eggs, and a dozen servings of fried chicken. He was not exactly happy with my choices.
Let's step up here and see what damage you've done. Okay, I have no idea why this is. You lost weight. You lost weight. A 194, I believe, and a quarter. If you move away, I can see better. Yep.
So I lost.
Let me see.
12?
I think so. 12 and a quarter. What did you drink?
Either Diet Coke or iced tea or water.
Okay. Your total cholesterol was 231. It's now 222. Now, before you think that that's a decrement, if I would check the same sample 2 and 3 times, we would have that kind of variance.
Okay.
Okay, so that to me didn't change.
What's that look?
It's 28.2. I don't like what you're proving here. I didn't write it the last time, but I believe you, 31.2, which was high. And you went to 28.2. And that's eating a lot of junk. So, I believe you've proved your point. See, but you did it with an eye towards an end. Okay, you had an idea what you were doing, you knew what you were doing, and in spite of that, you were able to do something. I'm impressed. And I would agree with you. There's more to it than just, no fast food.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and go, cheeseburger, cheeseburger?
Yeah, every night, almost every night. You get like the shakes and withdrawals, and I start like hitting people.
I've done that.
I need chicken nuggets.
Now see, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Fathead, yeah. I'm gonna start thinking smarter.
The part of Supersize Me that really made me laugh was not supposed to be funny. To figure out why I was laughing, let's play a game called One of These Statements Is Not Like the Others. Number 1, this food is so awful it makes me vomit. Number 2, I think I'm getting addicted to this food. Number 3, in one more day I never have to eat this crap again. If you selected number 2, congratulations, you have a functioning brain. For a guy who claimed to be suffering from a McDonald's addiction, Spurlock somehow managed to quit the stuff cold turkey and go back to his girlfriend's vegan diet. After eating at McDonald's every day for 28 days, I didn't set foot in the place for 3 weeks. I was tired of it. If this is an addiction, It's not a very good one. So why even play that angle? Well, if you're going to let a lawyer who desperately wants to sue McDonald's serve as your technical advisor, you kind of have to play the addiction angle, don't you? And by the way, how did Spurlock do on that purifying vegan diet?
But it took him 4 months to lose 20 of those pounds, and another 4.5 or maybe 5 months to lose the other 4.5 or 5 pounds on this, pristine, constructed by his vegan chef girlfriend diet. I mean, I thought that was amazing. If he'd have just gone on a low-carb diet, if he'd just gone back to McDonald's and only eaten bacon double cheeseburgers without the bun, a salad, and an iced tea, he would probably have resolved his problem in 3 weeks.
Don't get me wrong. A fast food diet is not a good diet. A good diet would include a lot more fruits and vegetables. But if I can eat fast food every meal for 28 days and lose weight, then most people can certainly eat fast food a few times a week without becoming obese. I was happy to lose the 12 pounds, but I wasn't quite finished with diets. While researching this film, I was surprised to learn that the lipid hypothesis might be a load of baloney. So, with a little encouragement from Dr. Eads, I decided to conduct a one-man experiment. For a solid month, I cut all the sugar and starch out of my diet, and I went on a saturated fat pig out. For breakfast, I ate 2 or 3 eggs fried in butter every day with plenty of bacon. When I was traveling, I ate sausage McMuffins without the muffins. For lunch, I had cheeseburgers without buns covered with plenty of onions fried in, you guessed it, coconut oil. For dinner, I had nicely marbled steaks or Polish sausages. My favorite snack was shredded cheese fried in coconut oil. I also ate plenty of fruit covered with heavy cream and lots of green vegetables practically swimming in butter. During that same month, I had a big programming project with a tight deadline, so I spent a lot of nights working until 2 in the morning. But I never felt exhausted. In fact, my energy and my mood were great. At the end of that month, I had yet another cholesterol test. The results? Well, let's just say somebody has some explaining to do. My overall cholesterol dropped and my HDL shot up. The experts who think cholesterol is important tell us to watch our cholesterol ratio, which is calculated by dividing your total cholesterol by your HDL. After a solid month of eating everything the experts say is bad for your heart, my cholesterol ratio dropped to 3.27. According to the experts, that's outstanding. When I think of all the times I had low-fat cereal when I really wanted bacon and eggs, or a skinless chicken breast when I really wanted a juicy steak, well, it kind of pisses me off. So let's review. Who told Americans to avoid saturated fats, which make you feel full and happy and don't spike your blood sugar, and told us instead to eat lots and lots of carbohydrates, which do spike your blood sugar and make you hungry again soon after eating them? Your government. Who cut funding for PE programs and, even according to John Banzaf, doesn't provide enough playgrounds in many areas? Your government. Who ordered kids to ride a school bus across town instead of letting them walk to their neighborhood school? Your government. Who pushed trans fats into the fast food restaurants right around the time more Americans were eating fast food?
The guy from CSPI.
So who does Morgan Spurlock blame for America's growing waistline? Ronald McDonald. And who do the food evangelists want to swoop in and solve this problem? Your government.
That reminds me of the only saving grace of government is that they're incompetent, because if they could do what they really wanted, it would be horrible for all of us.
And now for the one question that really matters. Who decides to drink 44-ounce sodas and eat big bowls of sugary cereal and large orders of fries and then go home and sit in front of the TV and eat more sugar and more starch instead of taking up a sport or just going for a long walk? You do. And if that's your choice?
So it is, and I think for the most part, a very sincere blindness to the possibility